Hi, it's Maria from Women into Wellness, and today I want to talk about how mindfulness can help you manage stress as a mum. So stick with me if you want to find out really easy ways to do this. Welcome to my channel. My name's Maria Hilliard and this is Women into Wellness, the channel where I provide you with tips, tools and strategies pertaining to nutrition, movement, mindfulness and lifestyle to help you maximize your potential for wellness and well-being. So, if you are a mum, whether you're a new mum or you've recently added to your brood or you've got kids that are slightly older, it doesn't matter. At some point you will have or you are going to experience stresses within your life. Now, these are just natural stresses that are going to come about simply because you are a mum and you are living life. Now, these stresses may be coming from physiological aspects if you're earlier on in your postnatal recovery. So maybe you are healing from having surgery or medical interventions, or in fact, you're just recovering from the huge physiological trauma that is childbirth. It may be that you have stresses pertaining to your lifestyle factors. So maybe you have a lot of responsibilities, not much time, or you're juggling being a mum, being a working mum. It might be also that you have emotional stresses. So these just might be conversations or relationships that you're having with people in your family or your support network or in that wider social circle or in the workplace. Or it even can be the communication that you're experiencing with your children. And this is why I want to talk about how stress management is so important. Now, if you've been watching a few of my videos, you will know that I am an advocate for us as women really prioritizing our wellness, our self-nurturing and our self-care. It's so vital and important, but especially when you are a mum, obviously because you are responsible for these little people in your life, and everything that we do has a way of rubbing off and influencing their development. Now, we all know this, and I'm sure that we all try our best to be the best parents that we can. However, it's not always possible. You know, I've experienced this myself. When I am stressed, I feel like I'm not always being the best mum that I can be. So what we need to do is start to take responsibility for finding ways to support ourselves to manage our own stresses. So this is kind of like managing the stresses, the things that are in our lives that cause our stress levels to rise, and also finding easily embeddable and easy to use and implement tips, tools and strategies to help us start to manage that stress, to bring it down when we feel it coming. And added into that is developing the self-awareness in the first place to start to recognize when our stress levels are rising and when to take a sidestep and employ one of these tool tips or strategies. So I'm going to talk about the different tools, tips and strategies, and I'm going to give you 5 really simple ones that you can use. But again, I just want to mention the way that we're going to use these is you either just have them as like a well-practiced toolbox and you just pluck on them and draw upon them whenever you need when you feel your stress levels rising, or you build them into a preemptive ritual or routine. And this is where you create little pockets in the day, for example, like a morning ritual, might be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour long, depending on the day of the week and how much time you have that day, so that you set yourself up beginning the day already in a state of reduced stress and a level of calm, okay? And also having access and attuned to these tools, tips and strategies that can then carry you through the day and remind you that you have access to them whenever you need to. You can build it into the end of the day. So if you've had a stressed day and you've held it together most of the day, or you've had a few outbursts where you were like, you felt bonkers, and perhaps, you know, you let your stressors get the better of you and you lashed out a bit here or there in your maybe verbal responses or whatever, then you might feel like you really need to just calm down at the end of the day and give yourself some space to unwind, de-stress, soothe your parasympathetic nervous system. This is the part of you that goes into that rest, you know, and relaxing and digestive state where you can just calm down and bring it back down before you go into bed. And even better, if you have the time and the inclination, is to build a morning ritual and an evening ritual and have your toolbox that you carry around with you throughout the day so that you can draw upon it whenever you need. So let's get into the 5 different ways that you can start to manage stress using mindfulness techniques. Now, the first of these is breathing. Breathing is the simplest way. It is easy. It is free. Now, breathing is a great way because what it does is it's just a physiological process you've got to do anyway. But if you do it with a bit of mindfulness and use a certain time technique, it has the added benefit of calming down your nervous system. So it starts to allow that sympathetic nervous system, which is the one that's the fight or flight, which increases your cortisol levels and has you getting angry and feeling angsty. And it starts to lower them down, soothe the parasympathetic nervous system, bring that into play so that you can start to feel like you are chilling out. So a really simple way of doing this is to just use a doubling breathing pattern wherein you double the length that you take to exhale a breath to the time it took you to inhale. So for example, if you inhale over a count of 1, 2, 3, 4, you're going to exhale over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's simple, right? And you can lower that number or you can increase that number depending on how good you are with your breath work. But you want to try and do that for a cycle of perhaps at least 8 breaths. If you have a bit more time, you can do it for longer. But this is a great one to do before you get out of bed in the morning, at any time of the day when you feel those levels rising. Take a step out the door, especially if it's a kid who's just wound you up. Pop into another room if you can and they're safe where they are. Go and do this breathing for, anything 30 seconds or so, and then see if it just helps calm you down and then come back. And it's a lovely one to do at bedtime before you go to sleep. Another one is to do active meditation. Now, I've created a whole video on this and I will link it down below. So I'm just going to give you a quick description here, but it's basically where you allow yourself to focus all of your processes on your mind thoughts only into a physical activity, usually something quite boring, banal, repetitive that you do every day. And what it's doing is that you're just focusing yourself on the sensory perceptions that you feel and experience while you are doing that activity. So this could be something like hoovering, taking the dog for a walk, brushing your hair, anything that you need to do, washing the car. So you just focus in on that activity and start thinking about how it feels to do it, how it smells to do this activity, what you're seeing while you do it, what the sounds are as well. And if it's something that involves taste, probably not one for when you're washing the car, then you want to get into it, that sense of taste as well. But just focus on your perceptions, let any other thoughts come and go, and just do that for sort of 3 to 5 minutes or longer if you like while you're doing the activity. And it just blocks out everything else and it creates a little pocket of like peace and tranquility around the internal dialogue or the clutter of thoughts that you might be experiencing on a daily basis. The third one is to do something like a guided meditation. Now, this is a really simple way of just scheduling time for yourself. It might be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever you have. And you probably are going to need time when you can be on your own to get the most out of this one. So once the kids have gone to bed, but just where you can get comfortable, pop on a meditation. Maybe you found something that you can listen to online, or you found a YouTube video. I've got a couple on here that you can use, so I'll link those down below. But so that you can just listen and get into the zone, but be guided into a lovely meditative state where you're just calm and relaxed. You allow your body to chill out, you allow your mind to just relax as well and to clear of thoughts, and sometimes be taken on a beautiful journey. It might be a journey focused on your physical sensations. It might be a journey where it's visionary, so where you're imagining somewhere. But it's a lovely way of having somebody in the know guide you through a journey of relaxation and of mindfulness. The fourth way is to do some movement and make it mindful movement. Now, what this is going to be doing is generally encouraging you to get up and be active. Now, when you do any sort of movement, from walking to an exercise routine such as HIIT or a dance workout or doing some yoga, it's always going to help you produce a certain amount of endorphins, and these are the feel-good hormones. So that's going to help you buffer out any sense of stress anyway. But it's a wonderful way of getting added health benefits at the same time, isn't it? Because you're working out your body. But when you start applying it mindfully, so for example, you're not just doing some sort of cardio where you're thinking about your to-do list that's got 5,000 things on it, but instead you are mindfully learning a technique like you've never done before. For example, maybe you're learning how to do some dance, maybe you are learning how to do a different movement modality, maybe it's Pilates, maybe it's yoga or Tai Chi. These are great ones because they have that aspect of mindfulness and breathwork connection built in. You see how everything interconnects, which is why we love holistic wellness, right? So doing something like that, but you can also do it when you're doing a workout routine. If you're doing something like HIIT or strength training or bar work, try and really focus on the precision of that movement, marrying that precision with the breath, feeling that breath go into the body, the connection with the pelvic floor, and then how that flows out with you in connection to the floor, the space around you, the equipment you're using. And you see what I mean? You start to bring your focus into the body, into the head, and out of the mind, and escape that stress. So it's just a lovely way of bringing mindfulness in as well. And for a mum, it's so important because one of the things we often do is not schedule time for our exercise. So I'm going to encourage you to do it here. And the fifth one I have for you, and perhaps it's the one I should have put first because you are a mum, is to do something mindful with your kids if you can, especially if they're the ones who have been the stressor. So if your kids are winding you up because they're asking for this, they won't do that, or they're nagging you, or they won't give you 2 minutes alone to even go to the toilet, then try and flip this around. Look at it from another perspective, because the kids are probably often doing that because they want a little bit more attention. So one of the things that you can do is fabricate an idea of something mindful you can all do together. So could that be doing the exercise? Could it be going on a nature walkout? Added benefit of being out in nature, feel good factor right for you there. Could it be that you do some breathing work together? You could do some chanting together, which can be great fun because kids love any sort of vocalization. And it won't feel like a normal meditative yogic style chanting, but trust me, it will be a lot of fun. Is there an activity you can do, like some painting together, a different way of being crafty, or doing some sort of creative activity together, or making some music together? Find different ways that you can be with your kids using mindfulness techniques so that not only are you coming out of a place of feeling stressed, you're also tending towards their requirement for your attention, and you're also teaching them great strategies that they can take on through life without them, right? Movement, walks in nature, breathing, being creative, maybe doing some chanting, spending that time together as a family where you learn, develop and grow together. So those are my 5 quick and easy tips for just using mindfulness techniques to just bring down the stress levels if you are a mum, and I hope you found them helpful. If you have, then please go ahead, like the video. Pop a comment for me below as to which one of these you think you could use that's going to be helpful for you. And if you do use them, I'd love to see how they work for you. If you found some value in this video, then please go ahead and share it. I feel like mums, we need this support network. We need to be a sisterhood for each other. So let's share the wealth, share the joy, and share the information. And don't forget to subscribe so that you get the notification when you click that bell as to the next video. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. Remember to take care of yourself and embed as many sort of mindfulness techniques, reduce those stresses in your life. Check out the other videos I've got linked for you. Take good care of yourself, and until next time, I wish you well.